I shared I don't know if you call it a poem, or I think what the kids call it now is it's called a spoken word. I've tried my best, but I can't memorize it, but I have it written. I shared it in O'Keene, so if you're in O'Keene, too bad for you, you get to hear it twice. Twice is nice. By a young man, his name is Sean Presley. I'd just like to share it this morning before I get to preaching. Okay. To the blind, this may come off as Christian indoctrination. But to the Christian, this is spiritually based doctrine of conduct through salvation that over time has been slightly lost in demonstration. Jesus of Nazareth, the author of salvation. So he who has an ear, let him hear. Please, and listen. Many of God's children have become lukewarm and nonchalant about doing the Savior's request. He said, if any man follow me, he must deny himself first and pick up his cross. So blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. By doing so, no one is able to take you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy. Also, be not conformed to this world, nor love the things that are in it. Thus, as Christians, we seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these other things will be given. But when you ask, it is not given because you ask with the wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. But if you hold to his teachings, you are really his disciple. But if you're still trying to please men, you're not even worthy of the title. But if you were bought with a price, do you have any idea what this means? You see, for you and me to confess to believe the King of Kings had to be stretched out on a tree. Jesus of Nazareth, the author of salvation. He views the ends of the earth. He sees everything under the heavens. This includes, but is not limited to, rape, gossip, murder, drunkenness, and even child molestation. That's why we as believers are to present our bodies as a living sacrifice to the weary and burdened who are aching to see the light of Christ. So if you are impervious to love, you will certainly prove to be useless. That's why Jesus said, by love men will know whose his is. So woe to those who put their faith in things that are tangible and ungodly. Because you have a little money, you believe this is something? Jesus described you as being poor, naked, and blind. Because a man's life does not consist of the abundance of his possessions. So be aware of men who have been robbed of the truth, who preach only that godliness is the means for financial breakthrough. Instead, put on your full armor of God and stand firm against Satan and his schematics. Jesus of Nazareth, the author of salvation. So no longer are we teaching safe sex, but on this day, abstinence. Because presenting our bodies as holy and acceptable is our highest act of worship. So abstain from fornication because this is his will and your sanctification. For this is how we know that we have really come to know him, when we do what he commands. That's why Jesus said, you call me Lord, Lord, but do not do what I say. Jesus of Nazareth, the author of salvation. I say this in repetition because in his name, the nations will be optimistic. So as I speak the sword of the Spirit, I bind any demonic interference. Like Joshua said, choose this day whom you will serve. Because in these times we are no longer just playing church. Remember, not all who say, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom, but only those who fulfill the will of the Lord's mission So tell me, what will you do when you come before his presence? And he says, depart from me, I never knew you, you worker of iniquity. This is biblical doctrine of conduct through salvation that over time has been lost in demonstration. Jesus of Nazareth, the author of salvation. Pray with me one more time. Whew. Lord, I'm trusting you this morning as I just put myself out on a limb and say, Lord, use me as you see fit. Open our hearts. Comfort us, convict us. Whatever it is that you see fit, he's done, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Now, last week we shared about Paul and how he had an all-in mentality. Today I want to dig in just a little bit at how he gained that mentality, where he learned and received it. Now, Lord knows I could probably preach for days on this, and if I'm honest, sometimes I have thought that just might be what God wants me to do. To stand here and let the Spirit of the living God use my mouth until I'm physically unable to stand here anymore. But I reckon by then the Spirit would probably have moved on somebody else to take my place and continue. Forgive me, Lord, if I'm disobedient, and please see to it to show me clearly if that's what you're calling me to do. Here am I. I think they had a name for that back in the day. I believe it was called revival. But for now, shall we continue to get to it? So, where did Paul learn? How did he get this? Where did he get this mentality of just of being all in, of being sold out, of counting everything rubbish, of counting everything worthless just to have Christ in his life? I believe it was because he had an encounter with Jesus. Not on a superficial level, not on a what can I get from you level, but on a real, personal, down-to-earth moment. In John 21, 15 through 22, if you have your Bibles, please turn to it. And, if you don't mind doing so, could you stand up with me as we read this scripture? John 21, starting at verse 15. Go to my Bible. I'm sorry, John 21, starting at 15. Did I get it backwards? Oh, I got it right? John 21, starting at verse 15. And it reads like this. We're there? You can get there, honey, I'm no hurry. Nothing more important than that. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to shred it apart after that. Are we there? Alright, it reads as this. I have an NIV version. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you truly love me more than these? Yes, Lord, he said, you know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you truly love me? He answered, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The third time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know all things, you know that I love you. And Jesus said, feed my sheep. Jesus continued speaking to him. He said, I tell you the truth. When you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, follow me. Peter turned and saw that the disciple whom Jesus loved followed him. When Peter saw him, he asked, Lord, what about him? Jesus answered, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me. All right, you can be seated. Starting again. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Now Jesus didn't ask him, do you love me more than the other disciples love me? He was asking, do you love me more than you love them? Peter replies, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus responds, feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. And the third time he said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because he asked him the third time, do you love me? And he said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. I try to put myself in that position. I would say, Jesus, remember, you know all things. You know my very thoughts. You know everything. You know that I love you. I'd be like, bro, you know I love you. Why do you keep asking me? And Jesus said, feed my sheep. He tells Peter personally addressing him, and saying, very truly I say to you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and you went wherever you wanted. But when you are older, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. Verse 19 says, Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. So here you have a disciple who's been following Jesus. And mind you, this is the same man who had denied him 3 times. And now here he is, 3 times being asked, do you love me? I like how it says, Jesus told him this to indicate the kind of death by which he would die. No. The kind of death by which he would suffer. No. The kind of death by which he would be sent to heaven. No. The kind of death by which he would glorify God. Jesus is specifically telling Peter how he would die. That right now you do what you want. You're a young man and you do as you want. But when you're older, because what you're doing for me, he's telling him basically you will be arrested, you will be martyred. You will be persecuted and killed for this very cause. He's telling him. Then he said to him, follow me. So how about it? If you knew beyond a reasonable doubt that Jesus was calling you to such a life that you knew you would specifically be put to death because of this specifically. And then he said, look, you're going to follow me, but you're going to be arrested over it, you're going to be persecuted over it, you're going to be killed over it. And then he looks at you and says, follow, let's go. Peter turned and saw that the other disciple whom Jesus loved was following them. So him and Jesus are talking, walking around I don't know what you would call the places back then, the temple, the synagogue, just walking around the desert, I don't know, walking through the vineyard. And Jesus is telling them a garden of some sort, I don't know, it doesn't say. But they're walking and he's with them and he's asking them, do you love me, do you love me, do you love me? He's like, yeah, I love you. Come on. He's like, well, feed my sheep. And then Peter sees one of the other disciples and he looks at Jesus and says, Lord, what about him? You know, it's in this moment that I relate. And before I get into this, I know that there's going to be some people here today that might not like what I have to say. There's going to be some people here that I hope are convicted. There's going to be some people here that I hope are encouraged. There's going to be people here that I hope are comforted, corrected. Whatever it is that God wants to do in your life, I pray He does it. I pray that you allow Him to do it. Because as Jesus is telling Peter to follow me, and predicts to him how he's going to die for the cause. And what Peter does in this moment is like so many of us. While Jesus is trying to shape and mold us, we are always looking at someone else and saying, what about him? What about them? When God convicts us about our little white lies, about our little bit of drinking, about the lines we cross just a little bit with that special someone, about the gossip that we engage in, about the selfishness we have hidden away inside, about the unforgiveness and bitterness we have toward one another, about our addictions, about our lack of responsibility and accountability, about those lustful thoughts that we harbor, aimed at someone other than our husbands and our wives, about the competition and comparing of material things that we so easily deny we take part in, about the wrong motives we desire, about the excuses that we keep on using, about the excuses that we keep on using, about the unconfessed sins in our lives, about the self-justifications that we so quickly revert to. Oh, but whenever Jesus addresses these things in our lives, we do just as Peter did here. We say, well, what about them? You see, Jesus' answer is so profound to me. Verse 22 says, Jesus answered, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is it to you? You must follow me. Let me make you a promise, guys. God will never, ever, listen to me real closely. God will never give you a pass according to what someone else is or isn't doing. Period. There's no loophole, there's no comma, there's no but, if, what about. God will not give you a pass according to what someone else is or isn't doing. If I want him to remain alive until I come back, what is that to you? You must follow me. You must pick up your cross and follow me. Jesus has a way of reaching us where we are and invading the personal walls, the boundaries, and the barriers that we put up. Man, I can't get away from that. Jesus demands that we be all in. Now, going back to Paul, I'm pretty sure this is where Paul gets it from. As Paul reads the scripture, as Paul's hearing the testimony of Jesus, I'm going to read some scriptures for you. 1 Corinthians 5:15 and 17 says, for Christ's love compels us, because we are convinced that one died for all, and therefore all died. And he died for all, that those who should live no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them and was raised again. So from now on, we regard no one from a worldly point of view. Though we once regarded Christ in this way, we do so no longer. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, I don't know each of your hearts, God does. It doesn't say anyone in Christ, if. This right here may or may not pertain to you today as you sit in these pews. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, a new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. Ask yourself, has the old gone? Is the new here? Luke 14:33, Jesus says, those of you who do not give up everything you have, those of you who do not give up everything you have, cannot be my disciple. It's at the end of there. Luke 9:23 through 25 reads like this. If anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will save it. What good is it for a man to gain the whole world, but yet lose or forfeit his soul? Examples of Jesus trying to break through walls and get to the heart. He has a way of doing that. Luke 9. Starting at 57 reads, as they were walking along the road, a man said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. Now these are the three examples I have here remind me of a younger me. And I know it pertains to some people in here today, or God will put it on my heart. I want to share my heart with you guys. I can't speak for anybody else in this world. I can speak for me. I have absolutely zero intentions on anything I'm involved in, whether it be leading the teens, doing Celebrate Recovery, walking down the street, being in a supermarket, or standing here. I have no motive and no intention whatsoever of entertaining you. I have no intention or no desire whatsoever of wanting to gain friends and getting pats on the backs. I do not prepare and ask God to give me these words just in order to let you be my friends, to make you happy, to get you to clap. That is not my motive, folks. My motive is to make disciples of the nations. Because I'm concerned with our souls. So if you're in here today, please think only of yourself. Let God give you inventory of yourself. All in mentality. As they were walking along the road, a man said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. Probably some youngster, or I don't even, anybody for that matter, who's all zealous, seeing Jesus do these miracles. Look what he's doing. Oh, I'll do it. I'll go wherever you go. Let's go. I want to go. And Jesus replied, foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. You know, Jesus had one motive as well, I believe. To come and seek and save that which was lost. Jesus didn't say, yeah, come on. Got me one. Hurry up and say this prayer with me and go home. He warned him, foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Now, he's not saying that we can never live under a roof or that we can never sleep with a pillow. But rather, are these things counted as lost to you? If given the option, which is more valuable, your comforts or your call to follow Christ? Which is more valuable to you, your comforts or your call to follow Christ? He said to another man, follow me. But the man replied, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. Jesus said to him, let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God. Now, he's not saying we should never be allowed to attend a funeral, but rather, which is more valuable? On top of that, for all we know, this man's father isn't even dead yet. I think a lot of times we read it and we think his dad just died, that's what he's asking to go bury his dad. I beg to differ. So that this man is basically saying, let me wait until my father passes away. That could be next year, 5 years, 80 years, biblical times, heck, who knows? Maybe he was thinking of not following Jesus until he received his inheritance. See, that was a really big deal back then. The man thought, Pop's got a nice business going. If I leave now, he might cut me off. Jesus, inheritance. Maybe he just thought he needed to only do as his earthly father wanted him to do, and then when he died, he'd be free to follow Christ. But Jesus is saying that the kingdom of God must have first place. And still another, I will follow you, Lord. Another one says, I will follow you, Lord, but first let me go back and say goodbye to my family. Jesus replied, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God. Whew. He's not saying never to communicate with our families once we start following Christ, but rather we must choose who has reign in our lives. Like I said, Jesus was able to speak directly to each one of these individual lives according to their hearts. God knows what will compete with Him in each of our lives. Let it be known, the Bible says, God will not be mocked. Nothing is hidden from His sight. Each of you. Nothing is hidden from His sight. God knows exactly, as you sit in these pews today, what competes with Him in your hearts. And He's trying so patiently and diligently and lovingly and mercifully and gracefully. Talk about those words, mercifully, they are. He's trying to say, child, come, all in mentality. It is dramatic, folks. It is extreme, folks. I know nothing of more extreme than eternity. And I can't bear the thought of some of you being in hell while some of us are in heaven. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, He said, if anyone come to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. This is to the point. In Luke 19, in Luke 8, verse 19, it says, Jesus' mother and brothers came to Him, but they were not able to get near Him because of the crowd. Someone told Him, Jesus, your mother and brothers are standing outside waiting for you. I can't believe His reply. He replied, my mother and brothers are those who hear God's word and put it into practice. As I was reading this verse the other night, and as I read that when Jesus says that if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father or mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. Now, He's not talking about the kind of hate that you despise somebody, but do you count it as loss, if need be? Does Christ have reign above all these things? And Jesus Himself said, my brother, my mother, close your eyes and play out the scene if you have to. Jesus is preaching to the masses, and then someone comes in and says, hey, brother Jesus, your mom, your family's outside, they want to see you. I'm like, time out, folks, my family's here. He says, my mother and brothers are those who hear God's word and put it into action. So I think this is where Paul gets it. And I think this is where each of us are challenged to get it. There's so many things in this world that compete with first place in our lives. And God is so loving, and I don't understand it fully. God will say, you go right ahead if that's what you choose to do. You can do whatever it is you want to do with your life. But there's a way that seems right to a man, and it ends in death. So yes, Jesus demands. It's not, and here's the thing, I boldly proclaim through the scripture, not my word, that it's not a suggestion. If you want eternal glory in heaven, he's not suggesting that you give him a little bit of your life. He's not suggesting that if you come to Sunday school, if you put some money in the plate, if you just make sure you're here on Sundays, you're getting it. No, he wants all your life. How do you know if you've given him all your life? We do what he commands. And I hope that I never become the kind of person who sugarcoats it. But the Bible says you can tell a tree by its fruit. You know, this is how we know we are his, when we do what he commands. Basics. Basics. And I know sometimes I'm pretty hard and straightforward, but that's actually good news. So as you sit here and you're thinking in your mind, I hope that there's some people here that as I say these things that you think I'm judging you, because I'm not. The Word of God is the Word of God, and it is what it is. Are you giving Christ your all? Are we playing church? Are you nonchalant about doing what he is telling you to do with your life? And yes, it will cost you some things. It will. It's easy to preach a message that says if you just come to Christ, all your ailments will be healed. Your financial stability will be, you'll gain. It's just not true. It's just not. It could happen. God might choose to bless you tremendously, but I know this. When I came to Christ on a true relational level, I was in a jail cell. And the next 3 years, I spent 3 of them in a prison. After that, I got out of prison. I had no material things. I had my own apartment, rode the bus to work for 2 years. I ended up in the Philippines. Now here I am in Watonga, Oklahoma. And I barely had anything to ever call my own. The only thing I ever had in my name was a vehicle that I just sold. I don't think I ever had more than $1,000 in my bank account at once. But I'm going to tell you something. I got joy. I got something that there's nothing you can do. You know, I'll watch movies. I like to watch prison documentaries. Go figure. And I like to watch these cases and certain things. And sometimes I'll be watching and I'll see, oh, this guy like got his hands on $10,000 at once, $5,000. You know, some people sitting here hear that number and go, that don't tempt me. Some people look at that number and go, whoa, what I would do for that. I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this. It's funny how the old is gone, and the new has come. Throughout my life, yeah, you know, sometimes I don't think it wouldn't be healthy if I didn't say, am I really saved? Is this a coping mechanism for me? Is this a Jesus pill that I'm trying to do? And then God reminds me of all the times he's moved in my life. God reminds me of how he removed addiction from me. God reminds me of how he removed so many things out of my life. I'm not even going to go through the list. I haven't cussed today. That's about 1,000 words less than I used to a day. I don't know what happened. I don't know how that happened. I haven't committed crimes. I haven't done heroin or smoked crack or drank alcohol or smoked cigarettes or do a lot of those things. But there's something even more important. I haven't stopped following Christ. Christ is trying to do a work in each of our lives. And if you would let him, then you would see the glory of God in your life. You would know a peace and a joy that's unexplainable. So while Jesus demands us to give up everything, there's what I like to call a safety net. A heavenly safety net. God will provide upon demanding. Somebody say God is able. Somebody say God is faithful. Somebody say God is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. Somebody say God is just. Somebody say God is merciful. Somebody say God is graceful. Somebody say God is my portion. Matthew 6:25. Everybody's heard this, but if we would just take it serious. We read scripture and we go, well, what they really mean is, well, I bet what I have. No, just quit it. Just stop. Please stop. Listen. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, what you will wear. Is not life more than food and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? By a show of hands, who added days to their life by worrying in here? If you got that secret, I don't even write a book. If you got that secret, there's money to be made. The world could use you. But I can't. And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you? You of little faith. So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Do not worry about this. Do not worry about that. I trust in the Spirit of God on this one. And if you have questions, write them down. Come join us at 6:30. Let's chew on this together. Just not the same bite. I don't want you on Phil's plate.
Is it 6?
6, that's what I said. 6 o'clock. Come join us at 6 o'clock. That's all right. I'm sorry. 6. And I pray the Spirit to help me to understand that by not worrying doesn't mean neglect. And I'm not trying to say, oh, but we need to, because those, in my opinion, are excuses. When our mindset is, when you meet scriptures like this, and you read, don't worry about clothes, and don't worry about this or that, and then we turn around and go, oh, but I have to do it. To me, that's our fallen default mode. You see, because he's not saying to neglect these things. He's saying, come to me. I'll show you what you need and what you don't need. And the truth of the matter is, the Bible says it's very hard for a rich man to enter heaven. That it's easier for a camel to get through an eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. And I know some of you are sitting here, you read that scripture and you go, well, I'm not a rich man. I challenge you. Believe me. According to most of the population of earth, you are rich. I promise. Even if you're sitting here today without even a job, I promise you that to the majority of the world, you are rich. I don't know a lot of things, but I did see with my own eyes. I know what poor is. Materially poor. I know what it is. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow has trouble for itself. Jesus is saying, I've learned, and before I say that, once again, this is where Paul gets his all-in mentality. This is where Paul says, hey, I've heard the gospel of Christ, I've heard eyewitness, I've heard testimony, and I choose to believe. And I choose to follow. And if you were here last week, then I shared with you what that meant for Paul. And I don't think that it was strictly for Paul. I think that each of us are called to be, quote-unquote, extreme. I believe we've conformed to the ways of the world. Yes, us. As a whole. I believe that we have, when the Bible says do not be conformed to the ways of the world, what that means for me is, I don't need to win converts by ways of worldly means. Now, I'm not speaking against some of the things I'm about to say, but I'm just sharing my heart. I don't think it takes pool tables. I don't think it takes fancy team rooms. I don't think it takes large church buildings. I don't think that it takes lots of money. I don't think that it takes lots of theatrics or concerts or good singers, fabulous preaching. Matter of fact, I'd be so bold to say I know that it doesn't take those things. They can be used. And they are wonderful tools to be used if they're used properly. What it takes is men and women who are willing to follow Jesus. I think about the Samaritan lady at the well when Jesus met this woman. Give me some water. And she goes, what? I'm a Samaritan and I'm a woman. In this context, a man he's not even to talk to her, have nothing to do with her. They're seen as dirty, as scum, as if I touch them, I'm unclean, like lawfully. Like, then they have to go do all these rituals and stuff if they... But he says to her, give me water. And she goes, why are you asking me? And he gets to telling her life. Basically personal stuff in her life. I know that you've been with 5 men and want your husband. The man you live with now is your husband. And she goes, oh my gosh, you're right. And here it is, just a Samaritan woman who was at that point living her own life, not according to how Jesus would have her. Then she has this encounter with Jesus. She instantly runs back into town, and she says, come and see this man who told me everything in my life, she gives a testimony. And by that happening, the crowds come to him, and they want to hear more. There was no concert involved, there was nothing fancy involved, except for a heart-to-heart. So it's my conviction, and my desire, and I feel like something God has called me to do, is put my heart before Him. First, we must take ourselves, each one of you, individually, before God. Here I am. Here I am. It's not going to be all comfortable. It's going to be some nicks and some bruises and some bumps along the way. That's okay. But when you do that, God is able to use you. Like I read, if you're impervious to love, you'll prove to be useless. When your heart gets focused on God, what do you want out of my life? Not, God, here's what I want, bless me. We do it. And it's so easy to do it. Here's what I want, God bless me. Matter of fact, we'll pick good things. Lord, I want to do this ministry. Bless it. Lord, I want to go feed the poor. Bless it. Lord, I want to be a preacher. Bless it. It won't work. It will not work. We have to come before God and say, here's my life first. And what God's going to do is going to shape and mold you, and you're going to hate it, and you're going to love it, and it's going to be a whole bunch of hugs and kisses and crying and laughing and just the whole deal. But just like the Bible describes it as God's hands being on the clay. I'm that piece of clay that... Have any of you ever seen a video of clay being shaped? It's this big chunk, right? That's me, that's us. And then God starts shaping it. I think I'm the part where when it starts doing this. I think that might be around that. I'm on the floppy part. But then eventually he steadies it out. He gets it. He'll steady it out. As long as you stay in his hands. But I'm telling you what, if you get off that potter's wheel, goodbye. Some of our challenges in life, some of us woke up this morning and didn't even want to come here. Amen. But we did it anyways. The sun comes up. How's the song go? The sun comes up. It's time to sing your song again. It's time to sing your song again. Not mine. So I just ask you, where do you want to be as an individual before God? Because before I can ask you to be at church with me, before I can ask you to be a brother and sister, before I can ask you to hold me accountable, before I can hold you accountable, I got to ask you, is that what you want out of your life? Are you in the hands of Christ? Are you on the potter's wheel? Are you being shaped and molded by Christ? Some of us are right there. We're right there. We're like, if I get on that wheel, I know what's going to happen. And some of us know very well what will happen. It's scary. But Christ promised, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you.